welcome to the Senior View. Tonight we have a special program about caregiving. Our guests are Patricia Stradawa. She's the organizer and support person who does many caring things in our community and serving people, along with Lisa Dion, our outreach coordinator from the Senior Center. And we have a very special guest tonight, Arlene Liskinsky. She's a caregiver, so she's going to share what are some of the feelings and what are the situations that you go through? How do you get support? Who do you go to? And thankfully, the Senior Center in many towns has programs. Patricia, how would you like to start this? Would you like to talk about how this got started, and then Lisa jumped in,
Well, I think we're probably in our second year now with the Caregiver Support Group. And it was started because we know that there are many members in our community who are taking care of their loved ones who have dementia due to many diseases, Alzheimer's, Lewy bodies, Parkinson's disease. And we felt that there was a need to have a support group to bring these people together so that they could share and talk about their experiences in caring for their loved ones. So we started this, and we are also associated with the Alzheimer's Association. Our chapter is the Massachusetts-New Hampshire chapter. And so we as facilitators have been trained by the Alzheimer's Association. Our support group is open to all caregivers, not just those that are caring for individuals with dementia, but also to other people in the community who experience some of the same kinds of feelings of frustration, isolation, stress. So we invite them to come as well. Currently, most of our caregivers, I like to call them care partners, because I think that it's more appropriate. You do give care, but you're in union with the one that you're taking care of, and you're actually a partner. And so we invite all people, but currently our caregivers are those that are caring for individuals living with dementia. But just some interesting facts. Caregivers, dementia can strike anyone at any age, actually. It can be due to an accident, a brain tumor. Usually it's due to dementia due to Alzheimer's. But we find that some of our caregivers are younger caregivers. They're caregivers who are still working. They may be taking care of a loved one who has frontal temporal dementia or early onset Alzheimer's. And so there's a lot going on there. They're juggling different things. They're juggling taking care of their loved one. They're taking care of children in the house. Teenagers maybe. Teenagers are also caregivers for their loved ones. So there's a lot going on there. But to be able to come to a support group and to be with people that are going through the same things that you are, that it's kind of a boost, I think, because you realize that you're not the only one. You come to a support group and you hear what other people are going through. Sometimes they have suggestions for you that are going to help you care for your loved one. So today we brought Arlene Liskinsky here with us. She's been caring for her husband, Joe, for how many years now?
About 4 years now.
About 4 years now. And so we invited her to come and talk about what it means to her to be a caregiver, what it means to her to come to a support group, what are the benefits of coming to a support group. So tell us a little bit about that, Arlene.
Well, to start initially, obviously my husband was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's. He was functioning, working, actually traveling quite a bit of distance to work every day. We lived in Connecticut at the time, which we had lived for 28 years. And although I have my kids who live here in Massachusetts, and it's just something that started very subtly And I look back at it now, and it had been going on for some time. But it was like hitting a brick wall at one point where he just literally, he lost his job because of it. There's a tremendous amount of turmoil that caused, obviously. And then because I was home with him dealing with this, and my daughters were here in Massachusetts, it's just like, it was like a giant jigsaw puzzle, and I didn't quite know where to turn. So I actually joined a caregiver group through our local small hospital in Derby, Connecticut, Griffin Hospital, and I attended that for about the first year. And he was going to adult daycare, and it's you kind of go one step at a time. And it's like I say, I'm living the dream. Unfortunately, it's a nightmare. And that's how it is for many people. I have, so when I moved here, because we felt that it was necessary I'd be closer to the family, my daughters wanted me closer, and I didn't want to have to deal with that at home. So we, went through the process of, clearing out a home and selling a home and moving here and adjusting to this lifestyle. And I had a very active life back where we used to live. I was an elected Board of Ed member, and I had a part-time job, and I was volunteering for other things. And then kind of came to a stop because now my focus was certainly on my husband, and we'll be married 40 years in March. And your whole focus and your whole life changes and gets turned upside down. And it's not just the emotional, the wellness part of making sure he's safe and secure, but it's the emotional as a wife that you lose, because he certainly is not the man that I married. He's not the person I married. He's not the person I knew 5 years ago. His whole personality has changed. In the meantime, we had several life events. My youngest daughter got married. My oldest daughter had her first son. Then my youngest daughter had another baby. So we've been going through all of this over the last 4 years. And he has settled in quite nicely. Usually people say to me, well, how's he doing? And I say, he's doing quite nicely. I said, the adjustment has been really for me, because now my total 100% focus is certainly on him. But we've gotten through it, we're getting through it, and I try to keep our life as normal as possible by doing the same kind of things that we used to like to do. It's a little bit more difficult, it takes a lot more planning.
That's right.
Certainly his health has slid certainly downward. I don't want to put stages on it, but I would say he's probably, they say Alzheimer's has 7 stages. He's probably late 6 to early 7. But as his wife, I wanted to make sure I did everything I could emotionally for him, physically for him, security-wise for him. But I also needed to find somewhere that I can go that I could seek other advice. The hardest thing as a wife, and obviously there are people who go to support groups who have other loved ones, whether it be a mother or a father, whatever the case may be, but for a wife is, you make this, and as a married couple, we make decisions all the time, and mostly I used to make them, but you always had someone to bounce off your decision to, and I didn't have that anymore. I mean, yes, my kids, certainly, and I did everything with my kids in terms of any decision I made regarding their father. But it's more difficult in the sense you're kind of isolated. You are very isolated. And you tend to find, and I find this myself now, you tend to get more isolated because of, whether because of his behavior or how he copes with interactions. So when we moved here, I try to keep things as status quo as I possibly could. We got active in other ways. I joined another support group. Unfortunately, the one I was in prior to this was in Northbridge. It was at nighttime, and that was the hardest thing that I found. But the Alzheimer's Association, to give them a plug, it was extremely helpful to me because they put me, it's like a giant jigsaw puzzle that you face. And it's one piece at a time, and one piece leads to another piece, and another piece of information leads to another piece. And someone from the Alzheimer's Association, a care consultant, reached out to me, and that's how I got to know Pat, because she said, this is a Hopkinton support group that's during the day, because I was trying to fit a need that I needed, obviously. And kind of, like I said, it progressed and it's got legs. It keeps growing and growing. And my daughters and I became very active in the Worcester Alzheimer's Walk. I'm proud to say we've just recently, the last total was we've raised over $10,500 for Alzheimer's research. My daughters have joined the committee. They do professional outreach because one's a teacher here in Hopkinton, and my other daughter works for a company in Boston, a biomedical company. So we have done what we could to keep our lives as, I don't want to say normal, but to keep us on an even keel, and to keep it for him too, mostly. But there are other emotional supports that you need. I said to Pat once, the first time I walked away, in some respects, I walk away and I say to myself, gee, I don't have it so bad, because there are people who have it worse than I do. As bad as I think I have it, there are others who have it worse, or are struggling, I should say, more than I am, in a sense. So you do learn. I've always taken the attitude that you never stop learning. Maybe that's why I served on the Board of Ed for so long. And I've always thought it'd be best to learn as much as I can, and so that I can, whether I can help somebody else. And it's ironic because my son-in-law is going through an issue with his grandparents, and I was sending all kinds of information to him, checklists for this and what have you. But it's overwhelming. I don't know how else to say it. It's just totally overwhelming because there's so much information out there, and sometimes people can't deal with that. There are some people who don't, and I do a lot of reading, so I'm on Facebook. I have 2 Facebook Alzheimer's support groups that I've joined, and you need to know as much as you can in order for me to help my husband.
What are the benefits of coming to a support group?
Well, I think it's somewhat what I touched upon. It's emotional to some degree. I think it's a little bit of a social thing because you get to meet other people. You get to just, know other people, especially me in the sense that I didn't know anybody moving here other than my kids. So
you're not alone.
You're not. Yeah, you're exactly. You're not alone.
alone.
You're not doing this. You're not the only person going through this. I think sometimes that's cathartic, because if you can help them, they certainly can help you in many ways. You might not have the same footprint that you're dealing with, but there are little bits and pieces that you pick up. As much as I think I know now, every time I go to a support group, to pass, I know or hear of something different that I can perhaps look at. So in that sense, it's helped.
Do you find that you share resources as well?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I know you have passed out some information. That's why I said I'm kind of a sponge for information. So anything you do pass out, I certainly go back home and read. I think there are other information that other people share that they have dealt with. It may not work for me. It may not work. What I suggest may not work for them. But you come away knowing a little bit more than you did when you left, and that's what's most important.
What's so nice too is not just going to the meetings, but I'm sure there's a phone list, and if you're having a bad moment at night or sometime during the day, you can call somebody in that group. And I think that is so important, to be able to communicate and not to carry that load alone. My husband was very sick for a year because of MRSA, and we didn't know if he was going to make it, but my role changed. I mean, all of a sudden I was responsible for all the bills, to make sure that the incomes were in, to make sure the bills were paid, getting him to doctor's visits. And I worked plus visited him every day. He was at Milford Hospital, and I'll tell you, it's something else. And when I look back, I say, wow.
And one of the things, and there's all kinds of statistics that you can look at when Alzheimer's Association puts it out, and I joke about this to my kids and say, "Oh, Mom," they say, "Oh, Mom." 60-some-odd% of caretakers end up dying before they're the person they're taking care of. The stress is tremendous. We were joking about it when we were waiting to do this, and and you have to find ways to kind of do away with that stress in some way, shape, or form. I've taken more or less humor as a way of doing it. I've tried to take a very positive attitude. And be as positive as I can about it. Like I said, and volunteering and doing what I can in that sense. And again, I have my daughter's support, which has been phenomenal. My son-in-laws are unbelievably great because they help me move and get rid of almost 50 years of stuff when we moved from there to here.
doesn't
I had 3 dumpsters, and they did all the the buggy lugging of it. So, and it's a financial component too.
Yes.
From a caregiver's perspective, that's scary. That's extremely scary, and we've talked about it a little bit because. Do you put your loved one in a nursing home? Well, I went and did a tour of nursing homes. I went and did a tour of assisted living homes. The price, is unbelievable. And I say to myself, I've contacted our legislators on certain bills that have come forward, whether it be out of the governor's mansion, which he signed, or anything that I could possibly do. And to this day, I can't do a lot because I'm home all the time with him, 24/7. But I can make phone calls.
Lisa Dion is outreach at the Hopkinton Senior Center and a co-facilitator. Tell us a little bit about how you fit into the support group and the resources that you share with the members of our group.
Right. Well, it's a really great group. Let me start by saying the group of folks that come in, they're a very warm, welcoming group, extremely friendly. And I love the camaraderie. It really is so heartwarming. But in terms of support, some of the things that we've discussed in groups and I've discussed with people in the group one-on-one are different support systems that can help you as a care partner. And some of those things, I think I get really worried for the caregivers because, they're not superheroes. They're human beings that need sleep and to take care of themselves on some level. And that's where I think different things like getting help in the home is important. Adult day health programs, there are social models and medical models. There are things out there that can help make the caregiving a little more doable and will allow the caregivers to have some semblance of a break because no matter how much we love our loved ones and how much we want to be there, there has to be a degree of self-care also. So I welcome anyone to contact me at the senior center and ask me a bit more about that or come to the group. I love the exchange of ideas within the group. Too. I've seen people sort of have that, they talk of that aha moment, like, oh gosh, why didn't I think of that on my own? And I think it's because you're like a machine every day, day in, day out, just doing. And the group really does facilitate the caregiving.
They share ideas.
Oh yeah, it's a great group.
It's new friendships.
Yes.
If anything, I've learned not to be afraid to ask for help. And I think
Very good.
that is probably one of the strongest reasons probably why I go to a group, because you basically are there to ask for help and listen, and really actually to listen too. So I think that's very helpful in my case at least, because like I said, it's a jigsaw puzzle. And I've learned so many different things, and that's all benefited my husband because I learned, call this person.
You as well.
Oh yeah, call this person or call that person or do this or do that or what have you, because it doesn't come with an easy 1, 2, 3 step manual.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
I want to take time to give the phone number for the Hopkinton Senior Center.
Very
and
good.
The outreach. The number is 508-497-9730. The support group meets on the third Thursday of every month from 10:30 to 12 at the library and the Senior Center. And I also want to share that the Alzheimer's Association, the number for their 24/7 with information and outreach, their number is 800-272-3900. You can also go to alz.org for any information and helpful resources there. So I encourage all of the members in the Hopkinton area and surrounding area to come to the support group, give it a try. I think you'll find that you'll learn a lot, you'll share a lot, Sometimes we cry, sometimes we laugh, and humor and caregiving is so very important. I mean, if you can't have some humor in it,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
right.
And also Lisa Dion is available
Absolutely, yep.
with the same number, 508-497-9730.
And I'm an extension 1615.
Yes, and so it's nice to call and let us know that you're coming to the support group. You don't have to necessarily. I mean, sometimes as a caregiver, you get up in the morning and it's not a good day. So even though you want to go to the support group, it's not going to work out because the one you're caring for is not having a very good morning. So you're invited to come. I mean, even at the last minute, if you get up and you say it's a good day, well, come on over. I also want to mention that the Senior Center has made arrangements with staff members. If you're caring for someone and you don't have an individual to come and take care of your loved one while you're at the meeting, you may bring that person with you, and we make arrangements at the Senior Center for a staff person to be with your loved one while you attend the meeting.
Very good.
And also want to invite you to come to the Memory Cafe. I want to put a plug in for that as well. It's also a part of caring for yourself and for your loved one. We meet the second Tuesday of every month. And contact number for that is 508-497-0108.
Okay.
And we meet at the Hopkinton Library from 1 to 3, and that's again on the second Tuesday.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So we hope you take advantage of that as well. It's a good place to come with your loved one and experience moments of joy and celebration. You know, when we offer music, some months it's exercise, also art, which we just did this last Tuesday. And you find that you learn so much about your loved one that maybe you didn't know before. I found this last Tuesday that there were some individuals, a husband and wife, and he was telling a story that she had never heard before. So, I mean, you still continue to learn.
I hope it was good.
It was good. There are those moments of contact with with your loved one, and also with the group that just makes those moments very joyful.
Okay. I want to thank the three of you for coming today. Thank you so much, Lisa, Arlene, and Pat. And
You're very welcome.
oh, thank you so much. This is so valuable because life situations, the most important thing you must do first is to take care of yourself. You'll learn that because then you can help the other person. You're not in a good condition if you're the one that's weakening. We're all only human and we all learn lessons. But remember, please, to take care of yourself. Thank you for coming.
Thank you
You're
very
very
much.
Thank you for
welcome.
coming so much.
Thank you.
And you have a good night.
Are you worried about letting your child take the wheel? Maybe you should also be worried about what you're doing behind the wheel. Have you ever sent a quick text, just this once? Well, that might turn into a catastrophic accident. Monkeys see what monkeys do. If you do it, why wouldn't your child? In a child's brain, almost all things their parents do, they can do too. 78% of teen drivers surveys text and drive. 59% said their parents do it too. Stop texting and driving, because if you do it, your child will too.
January 2005, a residential heating vent was blocked and snow and a buildup of carbon monoxide, or CO, accumulated inside the residence, unknowns to the occupants. One of the occupants was a 7-year-old girl named Nicole. Nicole lost her life that night of CO poisoning. The following year, a new law came into effect requiring all residential homes to have functioning CO detectors on every level. This law is called Nicole's Law. According to the Journal of the American Medical Association, hundreds of people die every year of CO poisoning. In fact, it is the #1 poisoning killer. Carbon monoxide is known as the silent killer. This is due to being odorless and colorless. The only way CO can be detected inside a home is with a functioning CO detector or a combustible gas meter. Carbon monoxide is the byproduct of the combustion of fossil fuels like wood, oil, gas, and charcoal. Chimneys and vents are designed to remove CO naturally from the residence. If an appliance is not functioning properly or blocked, the CO will not be evacuated and will slowly accumulate inside the home. Following Nicole's Law by placing functioning CO detectors on all levels of the home, and remember to change the batteries twice a year. Have a qualified service tech inspect all heating appliances prior to the winter months. Check chimneys, flues, and vent pipes for blocks or leaks. Never leave a vehicle running inside your garage, even if the door is open. If you have to use a generator due to a loss of electrical power to the home, position the generator's exhaust away from the home and at least 10 feet in distance. Call 911 and remove yourself, your family, and pets out into the fresh air. Do not delay by opening windows to vent your home. Leave as soon as the alarms sound. At low levels of carbon monoxide, you will experience a headache, dizziness, nausea. At high levels of carbon monoxide, you will experience unconsciousness and eventually death.